So welcome to our tea break with Rohini. I met Rohini last week. She was a phenomenal speaker on one of our Friday morning live sessions. And I just thought I'd kind of catch up with her and see how she's getting on in furlough. So do you want to give us a bit of an introduction as to your situation, Rohini?
Yeah, so well, lockdown started, I think 7 weeks ago, maybe 8 now. And then about 3 or 4 weeks in, I was put on furlough. At the time, it was just a short period of furlough, but it's since been extended. And then we met because I think on like week 3 of furlough, I decided that I was going to post something on LinkedIn, which I never do, about my experience so far. I think that was probably because I hadn't seen a lot of people talking about being on furlough. So I wanted to put something out there, I guess, seeing who else thought the same way. Just wanted to just put my thoughts out there, and then obviously Terry from Mag picked it up, and then we spoke, and here we are.
And what's the best bits about furlough? I mean, how long have you been in furlough and what are the best bits for you?
So I think I'm on week 5. The best bits are, I mean, it was similar with lockdown. The best bits are not having to rush, not having to be anywhere, not having to particularly, like all the things that we kind of like schedule and do and like have to tick off. I'm not so manic with that. And that's really nice to just have some sort of downtime. I'd say that's the best bits, just having that kind of downtime, that me time, not quite having to answer to anyone other than myself, really.
And what are the worst bits, the bits that are not so comforting, the bits that make you feel a bit wobbly?
The worst bits are, and I did mention this in my article, are that I think, rightly or wrongly, I do get my sort of sense of self-validation from work. That's kind of being at work. It can be in the office or at home, but connecting with my peers, connecting with my colleagues at work, just talking to them about the day-to-day things in normal life, but also with work, talking to clients, all that sort of thing that you get from being at work. I'm missing. It's sort of, it's like a little hole that I guess I was like at the beginning of furlough wanting to try and fill, to not kind of feel even worse about it, if you know what I mean.
So now you're 5 weeks in. Is there anything that you wish you knew 5 weeks ago that you know now that's actually helping you?
I think 5 weeks ago, I had a good few days of like, I could describe it as a panic. It was almost like, oh my God, I've got all this time to fill. I have to do so much, and I have to make sure that I prove that I'm like worthy of something, because I can't just not do anything. And that sort of sense of panic made me feel like I've got to do so much. And of course, I didn't think it was going to be as long as it has been so far. So I guess what's helped is just sort of knowing now that I don't know how long things are going to be, and I can only just go with what I know right now. So I guess just that thinking at the beginning, I mean, hindsight is always the best thing, but yeah, just knowing now that I don't have to just sort of have that panic of having to fill my time and do everything, which I didn't do.
I suppose knowing that you've got here and you're still here, and actually things have evolved that you might not have thought were going to evolve, but it's trusting the process that we're in as a human being. We're going through something, and I think we're so desperate to cling on to stuff and certainty in a time that's not certain, that you've proved that if I just sort of get there and look back, I go, actually, I've done quite a lot, You were talking in the last conversation about all the crafting you were doing and the different projects and setting up websites. I mean, that sounds like a very productive time, but if you'd set those agendas in week 1, you could have probably overwhelmed yourself. So it's just I think what I'm noticing is it's just sitting in it and obviously having some sense of structure, whatever that means, but your own personality will drive you. You know, if you're a
Yeah.
dramatic person, you're still going to be a dramatic person. If you're a very fastidious person, you're still going to be a fastidious person. If you're a procrastinator like me, you're still going to be a procrastinator. But it's just recognizing that. And I suppose people are looking for advice, and I don't know about you, but I see so much content, you know, this is the way to do it, and this is, and it's sort of, there's so much content, you know, if you want advice, it's there for free right now, isn't it? You don't have to pay for it, but you're doing it and you're living it. So what advice would you give to people who might just be starting now, because some people are, also for people who are just in that dip and thinking this was supposed to feel better, everyone else is saying it's feeling better, it's not feeling better for me? Any advice?
Yeah. I'd say that you don't have to feel anything. You shouldn't feel any sort of way. Like the minute we start saying we have all this time, we should do this, or we should feel like this, we're just getting ourselves into a spiral. So that's like the first thing. Don't tell yourself I should or I shouldn't. And every day is different. You can have you can have multiple low days and you can have multiple high days, but it passes. Everything sort of passes. And if you're just starting out, I mean, routine doesn't work for everybody, but I'm not the best routine person, and I haven't been pre-furlough, funnily enough. But having a routine has really sort of helped me. And when I say routine, I just mean kind of, it's more the early part of the day. As long as I wake up in good time, and kind of, do the usuals, like have a shower. I usually feel a lot better than the days that I don't get up and have a shower straight away, and those sorts of things. I've picked up on that, and I've only learned that over like the last few weeks. And that routine kind of makes me feel like, okay, so like I can deal with the day. I don't have a checklist. I don't tell myself the night before, tomorrow I'm going to do, this craft, or I'm going to do this yoga, or I'm going to go for a walk for X amount of time. I don't really do that, because for me that's like this sense of pressure of, right, you said you were going to do that, so you've got to do it now, and then you start that cycle. But just go with it, go with the flow. And if you have a day where you don't really do an awful lot, or you have 3 consecutive days where you don't do an awful lot, at some point you're going to get that out of your system, and then your body's just going to want to get up and go, or go for that walk, or read that book that's been sitting next to you for ages. And that small thing that you do, as long as you congratulate yourself on that, if you start like recognizing that as an achievement, you'll just automatically do more, because you're almost like psyching your brain into like a positivity of, that felt good and I've congratulated myself and that feels good. And then you do something else. And I guess that's worked for me without having planned that, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I suppose finally, if lockdown was to finish tomorrow and you're back in that hubbub of work, what's your job? Remind everybody.
An account director.
That is constant feeding everybody's needs, isn't it? Back into the agency, out to the clients. So you're right back out to imagine you're right back in that, 6 months ago, that day where you were just, I want to put you back there. What would you think you would be missing from now?
I think I'd be missing the sort of the calm and the quiet.
We have to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and I did mention this last week, which was, it helps to see this as a gift of time, and it really is a gift of time. And whatever the circumstances are, and it's not nice out there for people that are worrying or anxious or ill, or know people that are ill. But I mean, if you're not in that situation, you've got this gift of time, so it's nice to have, and I'm taking that as a gift. And
that's a really good message, actually, and I think it's great to finish on. Just think of this as a gift of time, because in 6 months' time, with any hope, you'll be back in that flurry of chaos, which drives you, but also dries you. I'm going to say thank you, and thank you for joining me for a cup of tea this morning. Keep well. It's a lovely day outside, and hope to see you soon. Thanks, Rohini.
Bye.